Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana-Shalakaya Chakranmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we studied chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. We'll start chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. So now, in further inquiry about Krishna's position and related topics about the supremacy of Krishna, so Arjuna is asking some questions. Arjuna inquired, "O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? Brahman, Adhyatman, then Kim Karma, what are fruitive activities? Purushottama, saying, O Supreme Person, what are all this? Adhibhutam, Adidaivam. So what is this Adhibhutam, material manifestation, Adidaivam, demigods? Please explain this. Then Adiyagnaha, who is the Lord of Sacrifice. How does he live in this body? Dehesmin, Koatra Dehesmin, Madhusudana. Then Prayana Kale Cha Katham Gneyo. How can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? Actually, he's just asking, how do we know him at the time of death? Prayana Kale. Sri Bhagavan Vacha. The indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman. The Brahman is the indestructible transcendental living entity. Aksharam. So it is indestructible. And then Swabhavo Adhyatman Uchate. Swabhava. The eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or fruitive activities. Okay. So this is a little bit confusing. The self, Prabhupada is translated. So nature is called Adhyatma. Let's just read this purport. Brahman is indestructible and eternally existing, and its constitution is not changed at any time. But beyond Brahman, there is Parabrahman. Brahman refers to the living entity. Parabrahman refers to the Supreme Person of God. The constitutional position of the living entity is different from the position he takes in the material world. In material consciousness, his nature is to try to be the Lord of matter, but in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, his position is to serve the Supreme. When the living entity is in material consciousness, he has to take on various bodies in the material world. That is called karma. So the eternal position or the eternal nature is called Adhyatma. And so possibly that is the spiritual consciousness, I think, which is being referred to. Okay. Jivatma sometimes emerges into the dark material nature and identifies himself with matter. And sometimes he identifies himself with the superior spiritual nature. Therefore, he is called marginal energy. Okay. When one goes to Swarga and then he comes back, he descends on earth in the form of rain, then takes on the form of grains. The grains are eaten by man and transformed into semen, which impregnates a woman, and thus the living entity once again attains the human form to perform sacrifice. So this is how a person from heaven comes down. Okay. Obvious to the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adhibhuta. Material manifestation is called Adhibhuta. And the universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adhidaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Super Soul in the heart, is called Adhiyagna, the Lord of the sacrifice. So Krishna has answered all the things. Brahman is the indestructible transcendental Jiva, living entity. And his eternal nature is called Adhyatma. Fruitive activities called Karma. Then the physical nature, the material manifestation is called Adhibhuta. The universal form with the demigods is called Adhidaiva. And the Supreme Lord, represented as the Super Soul, is called Adhiyagna. And how does Krishna, so Arjuna asked here, Antakale, Prayana Kale cha katham gnayosi niyatatma bihi. So Krishna is saying, Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshaya. Who at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Madbhavam, my nature, which is spiritual nature, completely spiritual. Quits his body, remembering me alone. So we discussed this. For us to be able to remember the Lord at the time of death, we have to have so much attachment to Him that that attachment should be greater than the attachment we have towards our body and other associated material things. So without attachment, just by detachment from material nature, we will not end up remembering Krishna. So we should actually have attachment. Bhava samanvitaha, Krishna says, right? You should have attachment to Krishna. And only if we have attachment to Krishna, so much attachment to Krishna, that even the pain that we are undergoing, we are careless or we don't bother about it, but we still end up thinking about Krishna. And then we can attain his nature. And this is not very easy to do. It's easy, but not easy, right? In the sense that we have to very strictly follow Shastra, the sadhana process, and see that we are making progress, which means that we are also developing Yukta Vairagya, then higher taste towards Krishna conscious activities, and losing the lower taste towards material things. And then that leads to the Anartha Nivritti, then Nishtha, which is Mukti. And after that, we should start developing Asakti, Ruchi, all these things, right? If we have come to Bhava, Prema, then there are high chances that we might remember Krishna. Suppose somebody doesn't achieve these stages, but still has dedicated his life for Krishna. Krishna might decide to give his mercy. That's his prerogative. That's he will decide. If he thinks, okay, is good enough, this devotee is ready to come to me, then he might just give the mercy and make us remember him. So achieving perfection is not a matter of our effort, not just of our effort. We should put our effort sincerely, but it totally depends on the mercy of Krishna. So we should remember this. We can't claim saying that Krishna, I've done all this, better accept me, give me your nature. No, it doesn't work that way. So this is a very, very high, tall order, remembering Krishna alone. And there are so many things, there are things in our mind which are impressions from previous lives, various desires we had, so many things. They keep coming out, popping up from the bottom of our mind. Right? So all that has to go completely. It has to become clean. Which is why mukti is not difficult. Mukti is not difficult. Meaning just not being attached to this material world is not difficult. Mm. Being equipoised in happiness and suffering is not difficult, relatively. But achieving Krishna Prema is difficult because that absorption has to get transferred from material to Krishna. So it requires sadhana. It requires solid sadhana, not just some sadhana. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kauntaya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. So bhava, everything, bhava, what we are feeling. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Whatever bhava you have at the time of death, that bhava you will achieve, you will attain. So that bhava, feeling, and which results in remembrance, that is what is the most important thing. So we have to be very careful what we get attached to. Otherwise, we should be ready to just come back again next life. So yeah, up to us. So Krishna is saying, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Otherwise, you won't be able to remember me. What do you have to do? Sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Remember me and you do your fighting. You do your prescribed duty. Sarveshu kaleshu, all the time. Not just some time. And also, my arpita, mano buddhir. Offer your mana and buddhi to me. Meaning, dedicate your activities to me. Mama mamevaishyasi asamshayah. Then you will attain me without doubt. So what should we do? Sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. All the time we have to think about Krishna and at the same time we do our duty. This is till we finish our duty, which is like we have discussed this, which is Grihastha Ashram. And then our duty becomes full-time anusmara, thinking about Krishna, serving Krishna. Till then, anusmara yudhyacha. Till then you remember me and also fight. And offer your mind and intelligence to me. Mind and intelligence fixed on me. Then you will attain me without doubt. So mind, intelligence, meaning our thoughts, our whatever we are doing, we should be doing only for Krishna, right? That is when we will use our intelligence for Krishna. When will we use our intelligence for Krishna? When we are doing Krishna conscious activities. So again, please remember the importance of drawing this line. You know, this Grihastha Ashrama line, it's very, very important. We have to draw that line. Right? And then only we can dedicate our mind and intelligence to Krishna conscious activities. Otherwise, Krishna already said, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya pavrata chetasa vyavasayatmaka buddhi samadho na vidiyate. That Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyaya, no, what is that? Karmaneva, no, what is that verse after Neha Vikramanashosti? Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana bahushakayanantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. So Krishna is saying you should have single-minded, single-focused attention on vyavasayatmika buddhi, on Krishna consciousness. But if you have too many things to deal with, your intelligence is split. So you can't fix your intelligence on Krishna if you have multiple non-Krishna conscious activities to take care. Could be even prescribed duty. So that is why that is important that has to end at a certain stage in our life. It's very, very important to note this. Or okay, we don't worry about all this. We just do intense sadhana. Then automatically we will come to this stage of saying, no, I can't just continue to do all these things. I want to just spend all my time for Krishna. If we do our sadhana sincerely, seriously, then automatically we'll come to this stage. If we are not doing that, then at least we should externally make facility, make arrangements so that we get out of material duties at some point of time, whatever that time is that's left to each individual. Yeah, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
yeah, this is my practical experience that during preaching, sometimes I get some concerns from some Grahastha devotees that we could not come to the program because we had our child's exams, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
these are, so sometimes what happens is, even though devotees want to come, but they are totally equipped with all these responsibilities of Grahastha. So during that time, is it fine if they give priority to that duty even more than
yeah,
preaching?
yeah,
Or
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, see, life has to be led based on priorities. We have to know if the child's exam is there tomorrow, then parents want to sit with their child to make them study. That's fine. But that is just a one-off activity.
yeah,
Not that, that itself becomes a primary priority.
yeah,
Of course, then the various questions, why school, this, that, and all. But anyway, I mean, so yeah, if there are some duties that need to be done, then that need to be done.
yeah,
Whatever needs to be done, needs to be done. That's why Krishna is saying, Ma manusmara yuddhacha. So if sitting with the child is your yuddha at that time, is your duty at that time, then sit. But feel the separation. Feel, ayo, I'm not able to go to the program.
yeah,
Not that, oh, okay. Today I got an opportunity to bunk.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, true.
not the escapist route, right? But if you are really Krishna conscious, then you will be torn. And internally you will be feeling miserable, saying that, oh, today I couldn't go to satsang. Right? Oh, but I had to do this. Okay, it's fine. Krishna wants me to do this at this point of time. So this is the consciousness we should be in.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
we will make progress. Absolutely. That is whenever there is separation, always remember gopis. When we want to do something, we are not able to do it, and we are feeling bad about that connected to devotion. You want to do some devotional activity, you're not able to do it due to other responsibilities, your bodily condition, etc., etc. You should feel sorry, miserable. Keep praying that I want to do. That will create that longing. That longing has to get created. Why Krishna disappeared from Ras Leela? To create that longing. Mm.
yeah,
So yes, all these should create that longing. And also for Matajis, I tell, like uh, during your time when you can't come to the temple, you can't engage in devotional activities, you should feel that separation. Don't just think that it's okay. It's just part of being, having got this body. But yes, it's part of getting that body. So we can't break that rule and do something like some people do. But we should do bhakti in separation then, feeling, oh, it would have been so nice if I could have come to the satsang. It would have been so nice if I could have gone and distributed books. If this feeling has to come. That separation, that feeling of not being able to do should come. That is important.
yeah. Also, Proji, I suggested that devotee that it will be better if you basically take out time during the weekdays so that you get more time to spend in weekend for coming to temple, even though your child has exam. But sometimes devotees say that, Prabhuji, this is Grahastha ashram, so I have to give that priority. So I think that's where I felt that the thought process should be that we should also give some priority to bhakti, and that should basically inspire us to find more time. So just wanted to add that point because it was related to that point which we were discussing.
Yeah, but it totally depends. I mean, see, if the child doesn't have good memory, for example, then you might have to sit on the previous day only. So
Hmm.
it's not a generic. A generic thing is saying that yes, priority. Not that we should also give priority to bhakti. We should give priority only to bhakti, and when other things come as and how required, we should engage in our duties. Right?
Yeah,
Bhakti always has to be given top priority. The problem is we say about I am Grihastha ashram, so I am done. I don't have time for bhakti. Right? So that's not the approach. The approach is that I have to give priority to bhakti. Why that? In the interim, some things intermittently keep taking away my focus away from bhakti, which is okay. Not
yeah,
the other way around. Not that, oh, I am all the time focused on my duty. And then whenever I get time, I do my bhakti. Right? So ma manusmara yudhyacha. We both of it has to go on parallelly. And then we have to use our intelligence to decide what needs to be done when, etc.
Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense, bro.
Okay. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Person of Godhead. His mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path. He's sure to reach me. See, this is just look at this. Na anyagamina, undeviated, always chetasa, always constantly engaged. Can we imagine? Constantly engaged, remembering Krishna, constantly is sure to reach me. Of course, see, the beauty about the path that we have come into, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's path. Is we can be constantly engaged in remembering Krishna by engaging in his preaching activities. We constantly remember Krishna. Undeviated, right? There is no other thought process. Oh, I have to distribute books. Oh, I have to go do preaching. Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have to do that. So constantly we will be engaged in remembering him. And slowly this will result in absorption. Slowly, not immediately. First is external activity. External activity has to be directed directly to Krishna, not indirect. So which is why stage 1 prescribed duty and also remembering Krishna. Stage 2 is no prescribed duty, only remembering Krishna, which is engaging in activities of Krishna 24 hours. Stage 3 is constant remembrance of Krishna, direct remembrance of Krishna, not through seva. The direct remembrance of Krishna is the result, fruit of this constant engagement in Krishna's service, as outlined by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then we will come to that stage of constantly remembering Krishna directly. So these are like 3 stages. So if we don't do, if we remain in the first stage is what? Just for everybody's benefit. Hope we are clear, because this is important for us to, our consciousness has to move in this direction. Stage 1 is do our duty plus remember Krishna. So this will be intermittent.
Hare Krishna, we can't see your screen if you are writing.
Oh, I'm writing. You can't see my screen. Okay. Okay. So this is stage 1. Stage 1 is duty. Do duty plus remember Krishna. So intermittent remembrance of Krishna. Stage 2 is no duty. Remember Krishna constantly by engaging in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Right? So this is what we've been given, stage 2. Right? Here, in stage 2, there might not be direct remembrance of Krishna. But the result of stage 2, dedicated stage 2, will be direct remembrance of Krishna. Now, in case we skip this, say we skip this stage 2, meaning we are only engaged in stage 1 only, duty plus remember Krishna intermittent. Then how will you come to stage 3? Because stage 3 is somewhat is a result of stage 2. Right? So this is very, very important that we, which is why, I mean, different ways of looking at it, this is basically Vanaprastha. So we have to come to this. There's no other option. And then we have to come here. We will come here. Is this okay?
Prue, what's the difference between stage 2 and stage 3?
Here you might not have direct remembrance. because you're just engaged in activities. So we might not be Krishna conscious, but we are engaged in Krishna's activities. For example, we are going and distributing books, but we might do it mechanically, not always remember Krishna. We might be doing kirtan, but we might not remember Krishna. We might just, so we are doing activities, but we are not as absorbed as is required. Right? Or somebody is doing cooking, they're going to the market, they're getting vegetables, and somebody is driving a car. No, all these are direct activities of Krishna, but it might not result in direct remembrance of Krishna because we are still not as absorbed. So as we continue to do this for sufficient time, and we automatically, by Krishna's mercy, we develop more absorption, then we can come to the stage where we can directly just sit and simply remember Krishna all the time, as in without having to do any activity. Of course, this has to be the last stage of our life, when we will possibly not have physical ability to do this, to run around, to be engaged in Prabhupada, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, Srila Prabhupada's movement, right? Then at that time, which is when it is said that at that time you should go to Vrindavan, Mayapur, and just engage in chanting and constant remembrance of Krishna. But without this, directly going from stage 1 to stage 3 is pretty unnatural, right? So stage 2 is absolutely required, absolutely required. So what we should do in stage 1 only, we should start engaging in the preaching movement. So then what will happen, that you will have some activities to do, you have some things to do. Then you will not be, in thinking, saying that, oh, if I give up my duty, what will I do in those hours? So if you have started engaging in preaching movement, then you will start increasing your activities. Then when you start increasing activities, your activities will fill your full day. And then there's no need for duty and there's no time for duty. And then you will remember, you will engage in the preaching movement. Then absorption will go on increasing. Then you will come to directly remembering Krishna all the time.
Yeah.
So we have to, tell me.
One question I had. So let's say we are doing in stage 2 and we are doing continuous services in Prabhupada's movement and Mahaprabhu's movement, and we are we try to make a balance that we engage in such a level that we also remember Lord Krishna, and the moment we start forgetting him and only engaging fully in the seva, then should we try to basically keep a balance there, or should we
No.
continue
See the way it will happen. For example, suppose say you have to go and you have to arrange some program, right? No, you can't be in that in the middle of that thinking, saying that I'm going to remember Krishna. Because that itself is remembrance of Krishna. But because see, understand that in one sense, Krishna conscious activities are not different from Krishna, so they are also remembrance of Krishna, right? But because we are maybe in a lower consciousness, right? We might not. Sometimes it might just become very, very mechanical, right? So then all we should do is we should just increase our Krishna consciousness. Meaning, whenever we are engaging with devotees, we should remember, oh, I'm doing it for Krishna's pleasure, Guru's pleasure, etc. We should start increasing our consciousness, right? And this also is remembrance of Krishna, but not like Leela Smaran, right? So just sitting and thinking about like suddenly Krishna's pastimes come to our head. So then chanting has to go on increasing, because that is the way by which we are going to get Krishna prema, right? So increase chanting, increase absorption in chanting. Even in stage 2, the chanting has to be good. If chanting is good during that time, that is our time for direct remembrance of Krishna, right? So we will there also chanting also we will go from hearing the nama to remembering Krishna. That is also transition. But this constant engagement will ultimately result in that kind of absorption. It will happen. It's the mercy.
Yeah, clear, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Of course, again, I'm reiterating this. If we are remembering Krishna's activities, or if we are engaging in preaching movement, it's not that it's not that we are not remembering Krishna, but when I meant remembering Krishna, it is like Leela Smaran, like that, thinking about Krishna's activities in Goloka, and wanting to serve there. So, okay, let me put it this way. So in the Raganuga Marg, this is the Sadhaka Deha. This is the service we do with the body, and this is the service we do with in the mind. So externally, this engagement has to go on. Then internally, this remembrance will start building. Then we will come to a stage where we can keep thinking about Krishna all the time. So this is also, in some sense, our Raganuga Marg also.
Oh, can you repeat that once again, please?
In Raganuga Marg, there are two things. There is activities a devotee does through his Sadhaka Deha, which is his body, which is to engage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Or technically, it said doing the things that our acharyas did. Like if suppose somebody is following Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, then externally do the activities of Rupa Goswami, which is the preaching movement. And internally remember Krishna. So that also will come, and then when after that it will be fully always remembering Krishna. When we come to a stage where we can't, our body is not fit enough to engage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. So I'm just clarifying again. See here, stage 2, first initial part of stage 2 will be just simply engaging in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, and we have not come to Raganuga stage. Right, so then we will be engaging in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement and trying to be as Krishna conscious as possible. Then we will make possibly further progress and come to practicing Raganuga Bhakti, when with our mind we will be engaged in remembrance of Krishna. With our body we will be engaged in external activities. Then that will convert into stage 3. Is that okay?
Okay, bro. Understood.
Okay. Anything else on this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Prabhu, quick question. So what is better, Prabhu, in the sense that preaching or constant remembrance? Because I mean, in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna is saying, ye idam paramam guhyam madbhakteshva avidasyati. I mean, whoever is preaching this knowledge is most dear to me, right? So he's saying that, and then if we end up constant remembering, not preaching, what is better position?
No, in Kali Yuga we won't be able to do that. We can't end up with constant remembrance without preaching. It's very difficult. See, our mind, he has to get absorbed in something. See, because we should understand this, in Kali Yuga, we are all heavily rajasic.
Yes.
Right? Most of us are heavily rajasic. Now, you can't just move the rajasic mind to Shuddha Sattva immediately. So the rajas has to be dovetailed. Dovetailing the rajas is to engage in Krishna conscious activities, preaching movement.
Okay. So better be in that preaching position rather than.
Absolutely. No, otherwise we can't. We will fall down.
Yeah.
In Kali Yuga, of course, there would be exceptions, right? But because our mind, if somebody is always in Sattva Guna, okay, and he is very easily able to just sit and without, but yeah, very rare. But see, still we have to understand that one more way of thinking about it is Krishna Prema is very tough. Okay, but with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, it becomes easy because it's Radharani's mercy. So even from that perspective, to get mercy, we have to engage in the preaching movement. That is why Krishna is saying, yeah, that they're very dear to me. One who preaches Bhagavad Gita to devotees is very dear to me. Right? So we have to get that mercy. So to get that mercy, we have to engage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Otherwise, this could be multiple lifetime process. If you want to close it in one lifetime, in whatever we come and we take it up seriously and we want to finish it off, then we need Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy also. So however you see, these 3 stages should be followed. Multiple ways of looking at it. But at the end of the day, this has to go. We have to go through this. See, this is one thing that I keep telling devotees, saying that, see, if a brahmachari is preaching, right, not sure if he can make this transition, because he's not done it himself, right? So for grihasthas, we have to understand, saying that we need to do this. It's not just some theoretical stuff.
Okay, bro.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. So Krishna is saying undeviated from the path. So we have to remember this, right? We have to be constantly engaged in remembering Krishna undeviated. Is sure to reach me. Actually, let's see what Prabhupada has written here. Stresses the importance of remembering one's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Maha Mantra. Okay, they enjoy that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. So he's just talking about that final stage only. So he's not talked about the intermediate stage. Okay, that's fine. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything. Kavim. Kavim means one who knows everything. Puranam is the oldest. Anushasitaram is the controller. Anor, Aniyamsam, smaller than the smallest. Sarvasya Dhataram, maintainer of everything. Achintya Rupam, Achintya, beyond conception, inconceivable. Aditya Varnam, luminous like the sun. Tamasa Parastat, beyond nature, beyond tamas. So one has to remember the Supreme Person, meditate upon the Supreme Person with these qualities. For us, we just meditate on Krishna's form and all of this is built in. So we don't have to really, am I thinking about the smaller than the smallest? Am I simply thinking about the oldest controller? Nothing, just simply think about Krishna. And this is for those who are not already come to the bhakti path. So Krishna is trying to tell, saying that these qualities have to be there in that person. First of all, it has to be a person. Purusha, where is it? Purusham Divyam. Paramam Purusham Divyam. So it has to be a Purusha. What are the qualities of the Purusha? These qualities. Prayana Kale Manasachalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva. Bhror Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak Satam Param Purusham Paiti Divyam. Just now he has talked about Dhyana Yoga. So Krishna is saying, now time of death, you fix your life hair between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviated mind, engaging himself in the remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain the Supreme Lord. But devotees don't need to bother about all this, fixing our life hair between the eyebrows, etc., etc. Just by the strength of our bhakti practice, we will remember Krishna. Automatic remembrance will happen. Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. So Krishna is now saying, he's talked, you will come to me, you will attain my nature. Then he's also saying, okay, now those who are Gnanis, they enter Brahman. Desiring such perfection, they want to enter into Brahman, so they practice celibacy. So now Krishna is saying, I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Krishna is now going to explain mukti. Okay, so I think we will stop here because yeah, so it will go into some other. Okay, maybe 2-3 verses just connected to this salvation. We'll finish. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagement. So this is for the Gnani, right? He's giving the process for the Gnani. Now, detachment from sensual engagement, closing all doors of the senses, fixing mind and heart and the life air at the top of the head, one establishes in yoga. Then after being situated in this yoga practice, vibrating the sacred syllable Om, if one thinks of the Supreme Person of Godhead, quits his body, will certainly reach the spiritual planet. So dhyana also. So he's talking about taking the life air to the Brahmarandra. Right. So for that, one has to be detached from sensual engagements. Then you have to close all doors of senses and fix mind and heart, mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. So dhyana process. And if somebody quits their body like that, then he will certainly reach. If he thinks of the Supreme Lord, then he'll go to the Supreme Lord. If he thinks about Brahman, he'll go to Brahman. So yoga practice can give us both. Ananya cheta satadam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to attain. Because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So we have to always remember Krishna without deviation. This is our goal. That is the stage 3. And after attaining me, the great souls, they never return to this temporary world. Mam upetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Napnuvanti mahatmanaha. Mahatmana, they are great souls. Because they're always thinking about me. They will not come back to this place of miseries. Because they have achieved samsiddhim paramam gataha. Highest perfection they have attained. So the important thing is to come to this stage of constant remembrance of Krishna. Then we'll go to him. Okay, so we'll stop here. Just one thing I wanted to see. Yeah, for the person in this impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, but the sound Hare Krishna contains Om. Certainly reaches one of the spiritual planets. Devotees of Krishna enter Krishna Goloka Vrindavan. See, Prabhupada is saying, if one quits his body at the end of life chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he certainly reaches one of the spiritual planets according to the mode of his practice, meaning according to whoever is his Ishtadeva. The devotees of Krishna enter Goloka. So the process is chanting Hare Krishna only, irrespective of whom you want to achieve. Yeah, so the impersonalist remains in the Brahmajyoti. So, what is he said here? Pratyahara, yeah, dhyana process only. Pratyahara. Then you come to Samadhi. Okay. Okay. Any questions?
So, not a question, but I think the purpose of doing service is that even if we constantly remember Krishna and go to Golok or any of the spiritual planet, we have to continue serving there. So we have to practice that state, I think, right? That is also one understanding.
No, but it's not possible to remember Krishna directly. It's not possible. We are not, see, if it was that, if that was the process, then you would have said dhyana. Right? So, see, we have to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra first thing, right? Kalauta Dhari Kirtanat. Now, this process of just becoming purified by the process of chanting, it takes time because we do chanting with offenses. Right? Now, so if we chant without doing offenses, then still our mind will be inattentive. We're not doing any offenses, but we are doing inattentive chanting. No, if for us to pull ourselves out of inattentive chanting, we require some mercy. So without engaging in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, we cannot achieve perfection. This is very, very important to understand. If you are not actively engaged in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, it's not that you have to be preacher, right? It can be something, it could be cleaning the, hall for the program. And there are some devotees in our centers who are just engaged in altar setup, right? Pujari type work, right? So It doesn't matter. But we have to be dedicated. We have to be doing something. Our mind has to be absorbed in some activity in connection with Krishna consciousness. Absorption gets created only through that. See, the process for absorption is chanting Hare Krishna. How much can we chant? With what? How much concentration are we chanting? For how many hours can we chant? Can we chant 24 hours today? Which is what is
No.
required. We require constant absorption in Krishna. We can't do that. So what Prabhupada suggested, saying that, see, this is not practical for you, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said 64 rounds, which is 8 hours absorption in chanting. We can't do that. Prabhupada said, people too much Rajoguna, they can't sit and do that. So then he gave activities. So that by engaging in those activities, we become purified. And then we will come to Sattva-guna, and then we will be able to chant for 8 hours without problem, without getting disturbed. So we need some fast way for our purification from the modes, right? And that is seva. So we do chanting so that we engage in seva in the right consciousness. Then we engage in seva, which is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, which will help purify our senses, help us raise above tamoguna, rajoguna, come to sattva-guna. Then we can enter into more absorption in our chanting, and then constant absorption. So there's more absorption, then constant absorption. You can't go into constant absorption without even achieving more absorption.
Mm.
So there is no option. I mean, there is no alternative. There is absolutely no alternative. That is the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and said, you want extra mercy? Give this bhakti to others. Then you will get extra mercy. Then by that mercy, you will get more purified. You will move faster. Otherwise, it will just take too much time.
Yeah. Speaking about that consciousness, Prabhu, my question was that during doing those services of altar setup or preaching or distributing pamphlets, there are various services. If one thinks that I am trying to do the same services which I will also do in Golok Vrindavan, is that the
No,
right context?
where are you going to distribute pamphlets in Golok Vrindavan? Where are you going to
Okay.
make the other people devotees in Golok Vrindavan? These activities don't exist there. The activities there is to simply love Krishna. Now, these activities are meant to bring us to the stage of loving Krishna. That is why we are doing these activities. We are doing activities for Krishna. There also we'll be doing activities for Krishna, but based on our mood, based on our rasa, based on our sambandha. Right?
Yeah.
So today, because we don't know what that is, these activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement will bring us to the stage of understanding what our activities for Krishna will be in Goloka Vrindavan. So there is a very strong connection with why Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should not just think that, oh, okay, which is why this engaging in preaching movement is very, 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 very important. Don't ignore it. Somehow you have to be engaged. And it's not that, okay, I did once in a week, I went and did some book distribution, I'm done. This is all slow path.
Yeah.
Fast path is always thinking now, which is why, I put some targets, give some devotees some responsibilities so that they are absorbed. They are thinking, oh, how do I do this now? Oh, I have so many books to be distributed. What do I do? Oh, I have to make 5 people more Krishna conscious. How do I engage with them? If we don't have a problem statement on our head, right, then we are going to just take it easy.
Yeah.
So, and see, we should also understand, see, as preaching leaders, etc., we can't go and push everybody because we don't know what is their breaking point. It'll take some time till we know people, right? So it is left to the individual to actually come up and say, okay, please give me something. I want to take up something big. Then there are others who it's easy because we know their mind mentality, etc. It's easy to push them, and we know how much their tolerance is, how much we can push, how much we cannot push. We'll understand. But it's difficult to know that about every person. So the responsibility is on us to seek commitment, some service, bigger service. We should seek for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. It's very clear now. Hare Krishna.
Okay, anything else? Okay, then we'll close. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananda Koti Vaishnav ki jai, Samahita Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.